Last time, we reached finals for the third season in a row, where we unfortunately came up short against our brother, Mr. Joseph Fontaine Monado lover Haruhi Suzumiya Anthony, in a match that, despite the outcome, left me oddly content. Because despite how much I struggled throughout the regular season, I still made it to the very end. Which really puts things into perspective for me because given what I've been able to do throughout these last 4 seasons, I have no reason to put pressure on myself anymore. I've made it, both as a competitor and as a content creator. Imposter syndrome? It can suck my nuts. But with that came another realization. I'm getting burnt out. Competing in a draft league is a commitment. For most leagues, you have 8 weeks of a regular season, which, combined with playoffs, make it over 2.5 months of consistent prepping and playing. And when you're me, doing the same thing over and over again kinda makes you start losing excitement, making me wonder for the first time if I should just keep going and pretend as if none of this is happening. But I can't lie to myself, nor to you that choose to watch me, which is why this season of the PPL will be my last draft league of 2024. So what's my purpose this time around? Well, as it just so happens, the PPL is a league that I have history with. This was actually the first league I competed in when I returned in 2023. I filled in for a team that didn't exactly suit my style and well, I got thrashed. It made me wonder just how my season would have gone if I was allowed to draft a team of my own choosing. Well, now's the time to find the answer. And I'm gonna find that with Pokemon that I want to use. In the words of the wise Elite Four Karen, truly skilled trainers should try to win with their favorites. Well, lucky for me, my favorites are in the OU tier, because my first pick is Gouging Fire. This Pokemon is insanity personified. With a ridiculous HP stat of 105 and an attack stat of 115, paired with a really nice defensive stat of 121, it's safe to say that brother ain't gonna be dying anytime soon. Whether it be as a Dragon Dance sweeper, or a fat son of a gun with Burning Bulwark, this Pokemon's existence is centered around making opponents uncomfortable, forcing exchanges that they just don't want to make. And when you pair that with Sun, you essentially have a Pokemon that can straight up win games on its own. Speaking of Sun, I'm not drafting it this season. While I do understand just how insane this makes Gouging Fire, I still want to draft Pokemon that I want to use. And I think that this Pokemon does not need to rely on having weather teams as a crutch to put in all-timer performances. Something that I look forward to hopefully proving. But with this powerhouse by our side, it's time to get someone that can fulfill both our hazard setting needs. So my next pick is Ting-Lu. This is another Pokemon that straight up refuses to die, and it has options which go beyond just being a simple wow. Rocks and Spikes? Check. Forcing serious progression with a special move? Check. Surprising teams with its strong offensive prowess and coverage? Also check. After seeing just how well both Viz and Chimpact used it throughout their respective seasons, I think this is a Pokemon that has a lot to offer. Whether it be as a physical or a special wall, thanks to its defensive stats, paired with Vessel of Ruin, I see it being a great help in getting me out of potential binds. Of course, with these 2 Pokemon by our side, we need some speed, preferably one that pairs really well with Gouging Fire and has amazing special breaking prowess, which is exactly why our next pick is Enamorus. I'll be honest, using its Therian form was like asking someone to spit on me. Its reliance on boots does little to help its bulk, which combined with the lack of reliable recovery essentially made it dead weight. Why? Because it had terrible speed. Its incarnate form, however, completely different story. It has a base 106 speed to pair with its monstrous base 135 special attack. And while it unfortunately may have no good flying coverage, it most certainly makes up for it all with its other moves. Especially when it doesn't exactly have to be just a special attacker, where thanks to contrary, it can raise both its attack and defense as well with superpower. I have a feeling that me and this Pokemon will get along very well. With these 3 out of the way, it's clear that I need a hazard remover ASAP. There is simply no way for me to utilize Gouging Fire and Enamorus to its full potential if I'm consistently forced to bring boots. Which is all the more reason why our next pick is Tsareena. If there's anything that I've learned from seeing my dear friend Addison use it, this Pokemon is the real deal. In a metagame that has very few reliable hazard removers, This is someone that fulfills the niche very well, with great coverage stemming from smacking flying types with triple axel, steel types with high jump kick, to even getting rid of items with knockoff. All of this is especially made better when you consider its signature ability, Queenly Majesty, meaning that no form of priority can do damage to her, making this someone that I'm stoked to use for the first time ever. Now that we got a spinner, it's time that we look for some Terra captains. That and a grounded poison, because you should never draft a team without one. So after sitting on it for a while, I decided to go with a rather unconventional pick. Galarian Slowbro with the Terra types of Poison and Fairy respectively. Looking back at how well Mr. Joseph used it during his PPL season, I figured that I can't necessarily go much wrong in having that by my side. That, and most importantly, there is no Quick Claw ban, meaning that I can very well run Quick Claw Quick Draw. All of which makes this one of the most dangerous Pokemon for my opponents to face. Of course, this leaves us with a considerable conundrum. Our squad is slow as shit. Enamorus is our only Pokemon with over base 100 speed. I need more of it, and I need it now. Unfortunately, a lot of the Pokemon that I had eyes on started to get sniped, but then I realized that there was only one true choice all along, or there is one future yet to be redeemed. What I mean is...
Uni's the boss!
Now, you may be wondering what in the world I may be thinking. We're talking about someone that single-handedly missed all 4 Hurricanes and is a big part of why we couldn't win against Mr. Anthony. It's a clear indicator that her existence is in itself high risk. You either land all your moves and ruin your friendship with your opponent, or you don't. There's no in-between. But despite all of that, this is still the Pokemon that is responsible for everything you see before you. Without Uni, my story would have never begun. We've been through lots of highs and lows, which is all the more reason why there's no one else that I'd rather finish my story with. That, and one more thing. Everything that I just said at the beginning, that's Uni without terrestrialization. But with terrestrialization, courtesy of Terra Flying and Terra Ground, I now have the perfect coverage to face my opponents and have what is, in my opinion, the best revenge killer in Draft League. With these Terra captains unlocked, it's time to nab myself a Middlemon. A Middlemon that can both tank hits and be used really well for pivoting. Well, it just so happens that this Pokemon was lying around, because my next pick is Alomomola, a Pokemon that made me a believer many generations ago. Before, I used to think that was just set up fodder for my opponents, but in reality, it's the best possible sponge, especially when paired with both Regenerator and access to Flip Turn, which doesn't just suit my style really well, but also gives me ways of keeping my Pokemon healthy thanks to Wish, which is especially amplified thanks to its monstrous HP stat. Things are coming along great so far, but for a team like this, I absolutely need a Steel type. That and some priority would be nice too. Originally, I wanted to take Cobalion, which would both help in terms of speed and give me a secondary rocker. Unfortunately, it got sniped, so I settled with the other best option, Lucario, Mr. Priority himself. Whether it be extreme speed to get me out of a pinch or vacuum wave in certain situations, this Pokemon can do it all. The last time I used it in a Draft League was in Generation 6 at the GPC, but that was literally during my second ever season. It's been many years since, and now that I got the experience, I think I'm ready to have a lot of fun with this one. As we're reaching the end, I figured that would be nice to wrap up my speed tiers with the base 1110 mod. I also happen to realize that I'm yet to nag a ghost type to stop hazard removal. Well, it's a good thing that this Pokemon was around, because my next pick is Frostlass. Other than it being another great Pokemon to set up spikes with, she is the embodiment of the term punish. Wanna hit me with any single move? There's a 30% chance of it getting disabled. Wanna still push through and get her out of the equation? There's a 50% chance of her clicking Destiny Bond and you going down with her. The fact is, this Pokemon is a walking 50-50. My opponents will not have a good time prepping for her because there's always a chance that their answer to it will end up becoming a part of the exchange that they don't want to make. With all of that said, now is finally time to make the last pick. I've thought about what else I can take to wrap things up until I saw a certain beast just waiting to be taken. Enter Zangoose. Now, This is someone who you do not want to enable under any circumstances. Toxic Boost Facade does insane damage, which becomes even better when you consider it having access to both Sword Stance and priority in Quick Attack. If nothing else, I know for a fact that I can't go anywhere wrong with having it as my very last pick. So yeah, this is our final draft team of 2024. Huge shoutouts to my friends Maverick Shooters, Amo, PokeMMD, and Don Schnack for the help in drafting. Along with, of course, Azuri for helping me record the footage, as well as my guy Jack aka Gravy for the help with the thumbnail. It's been genuinely a wonderful run through and through, and I look forward to hopefully ending things in the most iconic way possible. If you're excited for this season, feel free to drop a like and subscribe as I'm on my way to 10,000 subscribers by the end of this year, and I can only do that with all of your support. Thank you for everything. Let's make this something to remember.